And
Yes, that's right. We are back here again. D9 at 9ish, season 3, episode number 19, Through the Looking Glass. Uh,
it's over.
I guess you could say that. I guess you could say we just stepped through the looking glass. But yeah, here it is. We get the return of Jennifer here on.
Damn it! We just can't leave her here.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Jennifer Sisko.
Yeah, Jennifer Sisko. Jennifer. Yeah, so we get the return of her here in the mirror universe, and we kind of get the crossing of the dead spouses, I guess. For Jennifer, this Cisco coming back from the Prime universe, and for Jennifer, coming from the mirror universe, we get that crossover here. So it's kind of, we get a whole bunch of different metaphors and different things going on in this episode that I think are pretty good. Not the strongest episode for me. Avery Brooks still hasn't gone full Hawk, but that's neither here nor there. First, let's bring in our co-hosts. We have my brother, Dave Mater. Let's bring him on in. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jeff. I'm here to step through the looking glass. Which we love to say in every Mirror Universe episode. This being the second for the D9 franchise.
Yeah, no, for sure. We also have another co-host here, Jaemeel Robinson. He comes in again, last but not least. He's on a different camera, so it will be a bit of a side cue. It's kind of like we're looking through a porthole here.
We're looking
Jaemeel, on the side of a ship, and we're
Mm-hmm.
like, "Hey, Jaemeel, what's going on?"
Like I'm a passenger. I'm just like, "Oh, hello, friends."
Yes.
Yeah. I heard you already stated like it was a so-so episode. You know what? I actually like this episode a lot, and I do.
Then you
I got some good things to say about it too. It's a very different feeling kind of episode. Jaemeel, you've gone a little blurry there. I think it's just your focus.
There you go. See,
All
because
right.
I wasn't engaged with you all. I wasn't coming through the video scope as I should.
Yes, I think Smiley needs to modify your camera equipment, perhaps. Okay, yeah, I think it's really interesting the way they went about this return to the mirror universe, because I do agree that well, I don't know if you said this, Jeff, but I got maybe the feeling you didn't feel like this was as strong as the first mirror universe episode, which had the two Kiras and Bashir. For what a laugh it was!
What a laugh!
What a laugh! We don't get. I thought that maybe okay. It's interesting, like, because Cisco wasn't part, or at least Prime Cisco wasn't part of the first Mirror Universe episode. So I thought that this was an interesting choice, bringing Jennifer Cisco, or at least the actor who plays Jennifer Cisco for her Mirror Universe counterpart, was an interesting approach. You
better start calling me Smiley. That's what the captain called me.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Smiley. Yes, and to distinguish it, I guess Smiley and the attendant and Garrick are like the three that are really back from the last Mirror Universe episode, right? Like,
yeah, you get a little bit of Bashir,
but it's Mirror Bashir, so it's a new
Mirror
Bashir.
Yeah,
right.
We get Dax a little bit more in this Mirror Universe.
Yes,
than they did last time.
Well, we didn't get any of her last time.
Yeah, right. So,
but this time Cisco got Oliver.
Cisco got okay, and I think we have to talk about that. Okay, so the premise of the episode is pretty simple. Like, Cisco's kidnapped at gunpoint by Smiley in Ops, brought to the Mirror Universe. Explain, and then Cisco's like, "Hey, man, Prime Directive, I can't be interfering with your universe." Either, he even manages to steal the phaser from Smiley, but once he gets that picture of Jennifer. Like, the way he says Jennifer.
Yeah, I have that actually. One sec. Let me
hit me with it.
Let me get it. Here it is.
Jennifer.
And a rare occurrence of a photograph in Star Trek, like just like an old photo, like it's like a photo of Sarah Connor, with the edges kind of burnt around it. But yeah, it's seems to work. I can't even remember who actually plays Jennifer Sisko. I gotta look that. Remember that would be. Is she not on the credits?
Special.
Oh, here it is. Felicia M. Bell is her name.
She's okay. You know, like there's not a lot of chemistry for me between her and Avery Brooks to write home about. To me, you know, he says in this episode that she was the kindest, most wonderful woman he ever knew. Ow! Yeah, and stuff like that, where like it's not that you don't believe Sisko, but it's at the same time, it's like we don't really. I mean, we see
You're smarter than this, Sisko.
Yeah, you're smarter than this, and you also like we've only seen him with Jennifer a few times, and most of it was in like the Prophet realm.
Most of it was like visions or like flashbacks or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
The only real one we got, the true version of her, was the one that was unconscious on the deck of the USS Saratoga when it was destroyed by the Borg. Jennifer. Oh,
We can't just leave her here.
I can't just leave her here. Yeah, just it's amazing. That's
She
probably
played dead good though.
She did. She did.
Damn it! We just can't leave her here!
I don't even know what word that is. He's saying, like it's just a grunt. It's,
Anguishing grunt. Yes. But like it at some point they had to address like the fact, right? Like that Jennifer in some way, or bring her back, especially after I felt like after that pilot. And she plays such a prominent role in that pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took them like what? We're season 3, episode 17,
19. We're
19?
on here.
I mean, this took a while for them to really dig into Sisko's even backstory with her. We don't even get a lot of that in this episode.
No, we get a little bit of the Mirror counterpart's backstory.
Yeah.
That she was from a privileged family. He worked his way up from the mines. And I guess in the Prime universe, they met on a beach or a party or something, but it was very different. And they had a son in the Prime universe where they didn't in the Mirror universe. So they obviously had very different lives. But
Yeah.
I think like because they haven't really done a lot of romantic interest for Sisko's character up until this point. There was like a couple. There was that really weird one we had, right, with the weird telepathic lady who wasn't real or whatever in season 2. You probably don't even remember it. It was so bad.
I remember.
I remember it.
You know,
yes, I remember.
But and then they bring this Mirror Jennifer in, but you know, I'm on team Cassidy Yates.
My question is, Dave, in the one scene where we have Rom and Bashir, is that
And Odo?
Tuvok? Is that Mir Tuvok?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's Mirror Tuvok.
But so Voyager's already going on, so it is just Mir Tuvok.
It's just Mirror Tuvok. I always thought
Yeah.
this was like my favorite part of this episode, actually, because I thought it was like just a little quick thing for the producers to do to say, yes, in the Mirror universe, everybody's here, but they're different. They might be leading very different lives than their Prime universe counterparts. And yeah, Voyager doesn't even exist in the Mirror universe, so therefore Tuvok wouldn't be there. You know, but it's interesting. He's kind of wearing his Maquis garb here because in this universe he actually is kind of more a Maquis or a rebel or whatever.
Right.
And they're in the Badlands, just like where he was previously.
Just where the Maquis are.
You could say that this is like a crossover episode with Voyager in a weird way.
In a weird way. Like
Mirror Universe Voyager.
This aired in April of 95, so this is about 4 months after the very first episode of Voyager. This is while they're still in their first season. You know, I think it's a little like, what do you call it? Love letter to the hardcore Star Trek fans who may be watching both shows. That you know that this is a connected universe.
Yeah, this is the MCU before the MCU, but you better
Damn right.
Yeah.
Star Trek did it first, man. They did it well, and they did it very. And the way you do it is you do it like completely casually. You don't make a big deal about it.
You don't do it like Dax walking up on Sisko in a cave, taking her clothes off, and
Well, that's less
feel
subtle.
alive.
If it was heavy-handed, it would be Tuvok. The camera pans to Tuvok, and you hear like a version of the Voyager theme play as it lingers on, and everyone's like, oh, "Come on, we know it's Tuvok. Okay, move on."
Yeah. If they, that would be too much. If they're like when he walks through the door and the Voyager theme kind of riffs off, I'm like, I don't need that. Like, come on.
He did his part, and that was it. Cup of coffee. That's all.
Yeah, he's mostly there just to be another rebel or whatever, and I don't know how hard it was to convince Tim Russ to come do this, but he literally just had to walk across like the studio.
Well, the in my head canon, what I like to think is even the cast of Voyager doesn't like Bashir, even in a Mirror of Universe. The opposite of Bashir is still annoying, right? And that's what I have in my head canon. So therefore, the Prime Voyager cast doesn't like a Bashir as well.
Headcanon is where it's at.
Yep. What I like is Rom in this Mirror Universe.
I say we teach the Alliance a lesson. Throw everything we've got at Terok Nor and rip it to pieces.
Where's that Rom in the Prime Universe?
Well, that's the whole idea, is that they're especially the Ferengi are opposite of who they are in the Prime, right? So Quark was like not greedy; he was altruistic. He risked his neck to save others. This version of Rom is tough, bold. He double crosses the double cross, but then they double cross his double cross, so he ends up dying. But I thought it was an interesting like way they used him in this episode. For me, nothing tops Nog, the Mirror Nog, in like the next installment that comes up after this. Mm-hmm. I think it's the one after this. But because in their tradition of killing a Ferengi every episode, Mirror Universe episode, it's fun.
The Mirror Universe, Ferengis must suffer.
Yeah,
it seems to be. Yes, they must die.
Yeah, not even suffer. Just take them off the chessboard here. We get another episode here with Kira as the intendant, getting to do all the Nana visitor things. She can everything within her power to really make you believe she's the bad guy. Is this a stronger performance, weaker? Do you think she's gaining in her confidence in this role? What do you guys think?
Paint by numbers, honestly. She already broke it out once. This is just more of the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Once you have a certain character down, it just seems effortless, and it did seem effortless for this.
Yeah. Like I'm a little bit more optimistic, or like a little bit higher on it in terms of positivity with it. I think that Nana plays that intended so well. She out Gul Dukat's Mark Alimo when she gets to play that role, right? And so it's fun. Like I think that some of the stuff with her and Cisco it doesn't work as well as in the first one, because it's now real Cisco or Prime Cisco, and he's just trying to kind of work his way through the situation. I thought it was way more interesting with Mirror Cisco and Mirror Kira in the first time we got to there. I think it's also kind of unfortunate that they killed off Mirror Cisco and a lot of these Mirror characters as much as they did, but they because like Quark and Armin Shimmerman can never be in a Mirror Universe episode after that first time, because neither can Odo, right? So they throw them into that first scene with the Vols and like that whole thing about the Quark running the Vol fights, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was a funny written scene, and he's like, I caught them in the storeroom, and they were painting numbers on the Vols, and we're just counting them.
Yeah, we were just counting them.
Right.
Speaking of Vol fights, I have a sound.
Counting them to see how many we'd caught.
You were getting ready to stage a Vol fight.
A Vol fight? I'm appalled.
Oh.
Do you really think that was what Morn was up to?
Constable, I want the Vols confiscated and removed from the station.
You can't confiscate Morn's Vols. They're like his pets.
I'll see if I can get him some goldfish.
I'll see if I can get him some goldfish. It's like, I don't really give a shit, but maybe I can do something.
I'll do something nice for Morn, who was painting numbers on Vols. I'll get him some goldfish. It doesn't feel right, or maybe it's just like, whatever, Quark. This is my counter. In terms of pets too, like we don't see a lot of pets in Star Trek.
No, it's not a lot of people with dogs. They have more cats, but yeah, not a lot.
Data had a cat.
Archer.
Archer has, but he's like 200 years removed from these people, right? So it's
there's like no dogs on Star Trek, really. I mean, when you really think about it,
other than Picard's fish.
That doesn't count.
Well, Cisco says it does. He says the goldfish would be a good thing for Morn to have.
Yes, yeah. What about a Targ?
Targ would be all right.
Do you think that they didn't have any type of dogs or cats because if the ship was in peril, people would be demanding, where's the dog? It's like, we have to get to the escape pods. It's like, is someone going to go get the dog? And then fans would get angry and write letters about how
probably. Yeah.
Why didn't Picard should have, if they knew that they were going to be attacked, they should have had all the pets on escape pods. It wasn't a pet fight; it was a human fight.
Yeah, like it just.
I go a lot of message boards. I've seen stuff like this.
Yeah. Jeff? What did you think of O'Brien's kidnapping? Smiley's kidnapping here.
Yeah, like not great. I mean, also, but at the same time, like Cisco, like he's dealing with the Vol problem. He comes out into ops, and then O'Brien's there wearing not a uniform. He's wearing like a blue civilian garb.
He's just wearing his civilian gear, and Cisco's like, "Are you going somewhere, Chief?" Right. But what I thought was interesting too is like Smiley sees Mirror Odo. And he knew he sees Prime Odo, but he knew Mirror Odo very well from the ore processing center.
Right. Not a nice guy, Mirror Odo.
Yeah. So I thought that maybe I don't know. I thought about that when they cross paths, but they don't but Smiley's not here to talk to Odo. He's here to kidnap Cisco.
He does like look at him and he kind of goes like, all right, no, I'm moving on. Can we get out of here? Like you can see that he's uncomfortable with being there, Like,
right. He should be.
To do it. Yeah, and he should be because he's not where he's supposed to be. I mean, I get it.
And the PTSD from working under Mirror Odo.
The fact that he was able to go into a command center though with just a phaser and then arm guard the captain of that, said secure facility.
Going to the command center, we're like surrounded by officers. And then even when Cisco's coming out and saying to this random lieutenant, like, "Hey, ops is yours," or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that guy?
You never know because they don't have enough money to tell you who that is.
Yep. I was disgusted by the lack of effort by everyone in ops.
Yeah.
Like Smiley did not have his phaser on Cisco the entire time. And they're just like standing by. There was one like literally right beside Smiley that could have just like at least wrestled the phaser out of his hand. Did nothing.
Oh, and Odo, he can turn into, anything.
Yeah.
Well, he leaves right before he
leaves. The chief of security, by the way. I guess he doesn't help secure ops.
No, he's rarely there when they actually need security done.
Functions.
Well, they wanted Cisco to be alive. That's why he didn't want to be nearby.
Right. And then and then Cisco's gone in the Mirror Universe for what, days? I guess maybe a week. I don't know exactly how long this episode takes place over, but we're like Kira and the bunch looking for him.
They were torturing O'Brien.
Yeah, they don't ever.
Yeah, you kidnapped. Yeah, they found the Prime O'Brien, and they were like grilling him. They were punching him. Like, "Where's Cisco? We saw you,
Smiley. I know you replaced O'Brien."
Great. That would have been a great like a flashback. It's just Garrick or something, and Kira just beating the crap out of
O'Brien. O'Brien must suffer. Where is he?
Yeah.
I didn't do this. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he was framed by his mirror counterpart.
My wife. Where's Keiko?
My wife. Where's Keiko?
We also in the Mirror Universe we get a lot of Garrick in this episode with Kira especially, but I especially love this part of their conversation. Oh, whoops! Oh, sorry.
Or are you purposely trying to make me look bad to Sector Command?
Not at all. I've done everything I can think of to motivate the workers.
Such as?
Bribes, torture. I've even given overseers permission to execute any worker not meeting the quota.
Well, I'm sure that pleases the overseers, but it is not getting the job done. Follow me.
Right. So we get that kind of back and forth here with Garrick and Kira, which I really love. I just love both of them really get to chew into their characters, and I think that's why they came back to the Mirror Universe so fast here in DS9. Like, it's only been a season, and we've already had 2 episodes since they first did the Mirror Universe.
Yeah, like I think that it was true in the first Mirror Universe episode crossover, and it's true in this one that I think some of the best stuff with like the Intendant is often with Garrick. And this whole fact that in this universe, the Mirror Garrick is like her sniveling, plotting first officer, but she keeps him around, I think, because he's not competent or he's not effective or something. Like, he's kind of like a patsy for her, just somebody she can blame things on, somebody she can sort of use, and he's not really smart enough to overthrow her. So, because I'm always also confused with like, what are the Intendant's credentials? How did she become the Intendant exactly? We see her executing people at random, and she's capable of great cruelty, and maybe that's all. That's all the qualification you need. But other than that, I don't really like. She seems like if I were her superior, I would be more annoyed with her because she seems to flirt and have sex with rebels and pirates and
too hedonistic to actually run things efficiently.
Yeah, that she's not actually efficient. And in this way, she's not like. Well, maybe she's like Gul Dukat. We can compare her maybe. Gul Dukat was always busy chasing skirts and things too, but
she is actually in a lot of ways very similar to Gul Dukat. I think that's intentional. The Mirror Universe of herself is her worst nightmare, basically.
Right.
So that makes sense. With Kira's character. Do we ever get to see Gul Dukat in the Mirror Universe?
No, they never did mirror Gul Dukat.
That would have been amazing because he probably would have been Jesus. He probably would have been like the nicest guy, and just helped everybody out. Always held the door open.
Maybe. Yeah, it was. I think a little bit of a missed opportunity there too.
Yeah. So I think, certain characters like that, I think, would have been great in the Mirror Universe. But
but you weren't satisfied with Mirror Bareil?
No,
it's Bareil.
I'm not satisfied with Prime Bareil.
Like, come on, Jeff. He's only been dead for a few episodes at this point. You were like, "Where's Mirror Bareil? Come on, bring back that actor."
No, I'm good.
Who plays Bareil?
I'm done. Kira's done. She's moving on. I think the show's had enough. If we never had another Bajoran Vedic episode, I think people would have been okay with that. But that's a fool's errand to believe that. We're gonna get at least 10 more of those. Okay. This episode, though, really does a good job, I think, of kind of putting Cisco in the middle of the Mirror Universe politics that I don't think we got that last time. They tried to do that a little bit, but it was more about Kira and Bashir trying to get out of there, And in this episode, it's more like Cisco's got to go on this mission to help Smiley, figure out. He needs Cisco to accomplish the goal of getting Jennifer to not get this sensor array going up, so that will completely just leave them to sitting ducks in the Badlands forever and ever, and they can't have that. So it's either kill Jennifer or get Jennifer to come onto their side, and that's the premise of this episode. And I think that works out because we do get a great scene between Cisco and Jennifer where they kind of have a philosophical debate about whether or not Jennifer should be helping the Alliance or whether or not she should be helping the Terrans.
Here's my question, though. Like, are you convinced with what Prime Benjamin Sisko, his actions here? He chooses to go along with this plan. He chooses to involve himself in the internal politics and everything here of the Mirror Universe. And how does he explain this to Starfleet when he gets home?
I don't think Starfleet cares about the Mirror Universe.
Well,
I really don't. I don't think they care.
I think they had to. like they had to, like, if we're taking like canon as in the books, I think at that
Books
point,
on canon.
don't hurt me. Don't hurt me like that.
I don't make the rules.
I need that in writing. I need that in official writing to say
It's on
that
the
the
wiki.
books.
You got to read the wikis.
Yeah, anything on memory beta is not canon.
Imzadi is not canon.
No, unfortunately.
Imzadi too?
No, fan fiction. So
That hurts. That hurts. Oh,
yeah, I know. I don't make the rules. I don't know. I'm just giving the news. Don't shoot the
okay.
messenger.
Oh, okay. I would figure that they have to, because, like, isn't it like security alone? Like, we saw what happened with duplicates in terms of Thomas Riker. Like, you have an entire universe of duplicates. You would have to take it seriously.
Yeah, like I think after Thomas Riker and now O'Brien in the same season, no wonder they brought in Eddington.
Yeah, well, editing was needed to calm all this stuff down. Yeah.
Then he turns out to be a Marquis.
They're like, damn it, the recruiting officer is like, you suck.
Would have been better if Eddington was a Mirror Universe member of the Marquis. Like, that would have thrown it all for a loop. Yeah. With this episode, though, we finally get to see Avery Brooks be the star of the episode.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had that, and it's pretty sad to say because we're like almost 3 seasons in. And
I like Cisco in this episode, but I have a moral question here. I have a moral, and I think
doing this?
Okay, no more specifically, should he have banged Dax?
Oh, probably not. But I mean,
He's like, I was undercover.
He's undercover, but she's his mirror universe mistress. But he didn't have to. He got down with her. He was putting on the boot, if you will.
they established right at the beginning of the episode, even if you think it is Jennifer, it's not. It's a completely different person. So I think
So this is not his Jadzia, but she's identical to Jadzia.
So do you think he's a hero?
I mean,
well, I was watching this episode a few months ago with Jane, and she's like, "That's rape." I go, "Well, it's not consent because he's under false he's impersonating somebody.
Oh,
he's impersonating his counterpart."
Yeah, it might be some sort of misconduct. I would definitely say that. I don't know if it's
Kevin says yes.
There you go.
To what he's saying yes to, we're not sure. But I think to me, yes.
Maybe that he's a hero or not a hero.
Perhaps the choice to return her advances, Dax's advances here, was not necessary for his mission.
But do you think he's doing it under pretense that if he didn't, it might be considered like a tell that he isn't the actual Cisco that they all know, and
would it have been
revealed it?
What would have been a bigger risk, not having sex with Jadzia or punching Bashir in the subsequent meeting? Because that seemed to be all he had to do to convince everybody he was.
There's no risk in punching Bashir.
There's no risk.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I don't know. I feel like that was just like this was like a bonus for him, hooking up with.
You know what?
Kevin says he should have slept with Dax. That's the spoils of war.
Yeah.
Well,
Does
I
he
mean,
tell
he's
Dax?
risking his life to go help these people that really don't matter to him. You know, I mean, really,
and he has to maintain this cover.
Yeah. So, I mean, the perks of the job, I guess.
Here's the question
I
too:
don't know.
Why keep this a secret from Bashir and the rest?
Why did he hey Bashir, I met your mirror self. I punched you in the face. Hey Dax, I met your mirror self.
Why is this is Smiley's plan? So I guess why does Smiley want to keep I understand why he doesn't want Jennifer to know right away because but does it matter if the rebels and Tuvok and them know he's from the other universe?
Wouldn't the expectations be, if you knew you had access to another world, wouldn't you just abuse that access to get weapons or even just refuge,
Or does she have a hiding place?
right? Wouldn't it be the easiest way to attack uh, Deep Space Nine or Technor at this point is to be on it and then like transport into it or transport weapons into it, have it explode, and you've won,
Yes.
right? Without even having to be in the same universe.
Right, like kind of like duck in and out, right? Between
Well, no, just transport the bomb. The bomb goes off. You've won.
Yeah, it seems like Smiley has a pretty amazing weapon in that transporter modifier thing he has, right?
Yeah.
That he can kind of go in and out of either universe. And so yeah, like I think it makes it fun because it allows for Avery Brooks to have to play this mirror version of himself a little bit. Right. I think that's really the only reason for it, plot wise.
Like didn't really show like him being given like the exact lowdown about his character. Like, did he watch videos of the captain speaking to be able to do the nuances and the various tics that he had? It just seemed very jarring that all of a sudden he's like, I'm the captain, Smiley, and I'm like all he needed was like a limp or something. Like it was like Robin Williams in Hook joining the Hook's band of pirates. It's like, do a limp, Peter, do a limp, and say RR. Like it just seemed like he just jumped into it very easily.
Right. I also found it very interesting when he's having the conversation with Jennifer. He isn't acting like that whatsoever. He's completely calm, Cisco, rational.
He goes into real Cisco,
yeah,
or more of his true self, his vulnerable self.
Should have had a tear.
Yes.
Right.
Random tear.
And
is that on purpose, or is that kind of him letting his guard down with her? Like I don't get it.
I think what the reality of it, I think what he's trying to go for is that like he just can't pretend to be this other version around Jennifer, even if it's not his Jennifer. Just her presence changes him.
Yeah. And he also figures that sincerity is the best method to get in contact with her, to connect with her as well.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to swindle her and deceive her. It's going to have to come from a genuine place, I guess, is his mindset, and maybe that's why his demeanor changes so much during these scenes.
Okay, going back to the banging Dax portion of it, because I think we left a lot on the table there. Did she not notice the difference in terms of their intimate encounter? I would figure, was he playing the captain during that portion? Like,
he's like, I'm a pirate.
Like, to what extent did she like? Oh, that's different, or I don't know.
Did is there no scars that would be different between the two of them and stuff like that?
Other question: would this not be awkward when he gets back to the Prime universe and sees his Jadzia?
I mean, I guess. I mean,
would this be in his official report?
No, probably not.
Does he tell Bashir? He's like, I begged her, madam.
Yeah,
beat you to it, and I wasn't even trying.
Yeah, she came to me. Yeah, I think they are shoehorning for some reason a Dax Cisco romantic possibility, and I think they figured out at some pretty quickly that it doesn't.
It's not gonna work. Yeah,
not gonna work. But they were doing it like they did it in the Fascination episode, and they're doing it again here, and they kind of like are seeing if it works. And yeah, it doesn't. So.
It
just
seems so awkward.
Team Cassidy Yates for me.
Just them not being together, it doesn't feel right whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just chemistry you don't, right?
And I think I'm happy that they understood that this is a platonic relationship, and that's the most it's going to be. Anything else just seems very awkward and weird.
Yeah, they feel like brother sister almost. Like they feel like they are
They're family in some way. That it doesn't quite work, especially because he knew Curzon, and then there's all that. Right. That's the other question too. Is this Jadzia in the Mirror Universe actually a joined Trill?
I don't know. I don't think they make that.
They don't really say
Yeah,
either way, but
Do they
we
call
know
her
that
Dax? Do they call her Dax in the Mirror Universe?
they did. They did
So
call her
then she
Dax.
would be, right?
it would make sense, yes, but that seems counterintuitive. When we see Ezri later on, the Mirror Ezri, she's not Ezri Dax, she's Ezri Tegan. So that version of Ezri is not joined to the Dax symbiote.
So there you go. So yeah, I think she is.
So
Yeah.
once again, would not Dax have a better like understanding of the different personality aspects of Captain Cisco to know the difference because they've
You
known
think
each other? So why, dude? Pay attention, camera. Okay, I have to talk more into this. Wouldn't Dax have a better understanding than anyone about the different nuances to Captain Cisco's personality and why?
I don't know better
Especially
than
being
anyone.
intimate.
She was his
Well,
mistress. She wasn't like I would say his wife would have.
unless Curzon and Cisco didn't have any type of interactions prior to Dax being joined and becoming mistress.
Like the only thing we really learn about Mirror Dax in this is that she was part of his pirate crew, and then she joined this rebellion, and she's not even human or Terran. So what her role in this is sort of unknown.
Booty call.
Yeah, I guess.
she's Cisco's like mistress girl that's on his ship. You know, like that's. It seems
She's
to
a-
be like
She's just like a mercenary, right?
like a mercenary, like Bashir, no different. Like they're the same.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's barely in this episode, but we spent a lot of time bringing her up. But
That's a very pivotal scene. That's a
It's
very
a scene.
pivotal scene.
well, I also think that Cisco hooks up with the Intendant once he gets to Terak Nor.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And you know, and who's to say him and Jennifer at the end?
They make it a very big point in the Mirror Universe that sex is more casual in the Mirror
Casual in the Mirror Universe. Sexuality, people use sex all the time, and Cisco's like, "Hey man, when in Rome, I'm gonna
Yeah, he
do as
doesn't, like,
do
there's
as the
no-
Terrans do."
There's no moral obligation to it. There's no like Cisco's just like he's just like, all right, this is where I am, and this is what I got to deal with. Whereas I don't know if a female character coming into this universe would feel the same way.
I think that's just how the writer like the one thing coming out of this episode that I feel like was a missed opportunity is as the series goes on and you see our Benny character gets a little bit more extreme. Why didn't anyone go, hey, there should have been an episode dedicated to did he get replaced by his mirror counterpart? Because it just seems like such a departure from the character in first season to the latter seasons, right? It seems like that's an idea for a story that never came about because you're just going to take his word that, oh yeah, my mirror counterpart passed away, so I'm the only one that's left. You could have been replaced and killed.
Yeah, it doesn't occur to them very often.
Yeah, I do think that is an interesting point, Jaemeel, because this episode is a lot about that. It's about being replaced by someone that looks exactly like you, and what that could do to the world that you're replacing that person within, and you're confusing everybody. You're making people
Kind of like
think,
Thomas Riker pretending he's Willow Riker.
yeah, and kind of like that, and you're getting people's hopes up. Like Dax, for instance, Mirror Dax thinks that Cisco's still alive, so she's willing to, do the dirty. And so
She would have done it anyway.
I think, yeah, she would have done it anyway. And Kira, same thing. I think we kind of get that. It's like, I'm glad you're not dead, but I'm only keeping you alive because it's irritating Garrick. Stuff like that. And I enjoy the Mirror Universe, but yeah, it's small doses, I think, are required.
I agree.
Anything else with what we've talked about so far? I do want to get to the kind of the final scene here where we get the Mexican standoff between Kira.
Well, just before that, like even when so there's the whole scene with Jennifer and Ben, like where he convinces her to join, and like what the job that he does to convince her to like switch,
Mhm.
does it work for you? The scene, do you believe her? Like, because she says, I'm helping develop the sensor ray that's going to help track down all the rebels and end this rebellion, because the rebels are the problem, because they're killing people and causing an issue, right? So she's basically a collaborator, right? And apparently so is her family. And he's like, come on, we got to help our people. And she's like, you don't care about our people. She's like, yeah, I do. I changed. And she's like, okay. Right. And so I'm like, well, that was almost too easy. Like,
Well, I just have to figure that the personality of Captain Sisko compared to our Ben was so extreme that it was drawing that she had to, and we have that latter scene that kind of she touches on it, like she had to believe there's no way this is the same person I knew. Did he bonks his head or something? Like it seems like a total 180.
yeah.
You do have, he does make a good point to her that, you know, you might think that just because you have like a nice clothing or a hot meal that you're not a prisoner here, but you are. And I think that's the kind of the crux of, she realizes, I think the point he is making is right, that keep going down this path, it's not going to make her feel better about herself.
She couldn't figure this out on her own. Like, this is
I think she already knew it, but sometimes you just need somebody just to be like, you know, grab your arm and be like, what are you doing? And that in the mirror universe, I don't get a lot of, you know, people don't look out for anyone but themselves in the mirror universe. Whereas when you have somebody come from the other universe into the mirror universe, they have different values and different ways of looking at things. And I do think that convincing someone through a moral argument might be easier in the mirror universe.
Is that kind of what Garrick says in the episode, where he's like, that's Sisko, he has too much spirit, and she was like, too much spirit, it infects people, right? And they talk, and like often that's what the theme of these mirror universe episodes are, is like, it just takes somebody with an idea to do something better to change an entire world.
Right. The first mirror episode, we have Spock, you know, change the whole mirror universe from that encounter with Kirk. So, you know, yeah, they're playing off that theme.
And then when in Kira and Bashir were there last year, this whole rebellion started, right? And it just like it just takes kind of a spark. Like they kind of like the interactions between the universes are brief, but they seem to be very meaningful to the mirror side, not so much to the prime side.
Yeah, they never seem to.
There's no like somebody's coming from the mirror universe and has blown the mind of a prime universe counterpart.
Yeah, and they should have done that, I think, at some point.
Discovery, did they? I guess Georgiou.
Georgiou and even
what's his Lorca?
Lorca, yeah.
And Lorca, okay, all right.
Because Lorca does kind of shepherd
Burnham.
Jeez, man, Discovery, come back, man. I'm losing it. I kind of like shepherds Burnham back from the brink of where she was.
Yeah, okay. So I guess they did try to do more of that later on. I think maybe in the 90s Trek era more so, but yeah. Like it's I lost my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Dave, yeah.
But yeah. Yep. The other thing I wanted to mention too was that I loved Sisko once he breaks out of that room with Jennifer, right? And he kills the one Klingon, but he doesn't kill the other Klingon. He just knocks him out. Everyone noticed. But then he has like the two Klingon disruptors. Yes. Right? And he's like, I got the two Klingon disruptors. Right? You know, he's cool.
He's gone full hawk. He's getting to full hawk.
He's moving. They're calling him captain throughout the whole episode, even though he's not been promoted to captain yet. But because his counterpart's a captain, it just fits. It fits.
He's like I am a captain. I am a captain.
Yeah, I'm gonna call up Nechayev and say, "Where's my promotion?"
Do you think they did that? You know, like made everyone calling him the captain in this episode on purpose to see how it fit, to see if like Captain Sisko sounded right, to see.
Well, Ira Stephen Bear wanted to make him a captain from the beginning. He never wanted him to be a commander, but there was for whatever reason, there was something to do with like, well, naval bases are actually commanded by commanders typically, and ships would be commanded by captains and admirals. But they're like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
Well, he got a ship afterwards, so
yeah, he has a ship at this point too, anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't mind that he was the commander and it took a little time or whatever. Like, I don't mind that storyline. I don't think it would have been. I'm glad they did the promotion. Maybe it could have happened a little earlier. But other than that, I don't mind it.
But it also, they give him the promotion right when the show, when Deep Space Nine is becoming this really, really important place, you know, like it's like ever since the Dominion comes onto the scene at the end of season 2, like Cisco is in a very high profile position, more so than before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like maintain Bajoran peace as they look to
And explore
join the Federation.
and guess what? I also found a wormhole on my first day on the job. Okay, cool. Watch that.
Boom, there it is. If to quote War Machine, boom, there it is.
Boom, there it is.
War Machine story.
Yeah. We just love those.
Yeah. It's like, boom, you're looking for this?
Yeah, sorry. You're looking for this. That's the line. Yes.
Yeah, come on, that story kills.
That story kills with everyone but superheroes.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of which, okay, so yeah, we get a kind of Mexican standoff kind of ending to this episode where we have Cisco and all his gang meet with Kira and all the Cardassians and their gang in this. I don't know where the
Ore processing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they get like chased. They can't get to the airlock, and he's like, which way or processing? And it was an interesting plan here. He's like, yeah, like I guess maybe the security code's the same in both universes. Turns out this gamble works out, and he's able to change the self-destruct code, and he's able to turn the tables on the whole thing. And I love it. I love I love the line where he's like, I changed it.
I changed it. Yeah, he's he's almost asking a question, but at the same time, like just rubbing it in her face. Like he's like, I changed it. You know. Yeah, he's great. It's a great moment. And then he's like, yeah, you have 8 minutes and 30 seconds to let us go. Otherwise, we all die. And this is the only time the intendant, like, you know, is beat. I find like she's not very often did they get the upper hand on her, but this time they do, and she knows it.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing, and he still doesn't admit who he is to her.
No, he never admits it to Jennifer either, does he? Or is it
at the very end? Not who he is,
implied.
just that he's not hers. Like he's not her Cisco,
Yeah.
but he doesn't really tell her who he is.
Yeah.
Doesn't. Hey, where's Jake? Where's Mirror Jake? Have you seen him?
Yeah.
Oh, there isn't one.
He went all the way in on jumpsuits.
He
Color
did.
patterns.
Very aggressive jumpsuits.
Yeah, and
I love how she's like, Dax tells me you're leaving. She also tells me other things about you.
Yeah.
yeah. What was that supposed to be? Like the Dax and Mirror Dax and Cisco Mirror Jennifer at the end.
Yeah, there should be like it feels like a scene is missing.
It feels like there was more. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like they cut stuff for time, and they were like, "That's good enough."
We got to fit this scene in the beginning where Quark and Odo are arguing about voles.
Yeah, this is good stuff. We can't get rid of this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
He's talking about Morn's pets.
Yeah, Morn's pet. His hearts will be broken.
Yeah, we need Smiley fixing panels and getting beaten guards up. We need these beats can't not be missed.
Like, there's not a lot of wasted time in this episode. Really, I don't think. But
for me, the episode drags on. For me, it's not a great episode. It's good performances, but the story is a blah story. I mean, it really is. I do like the moments, like you said, like with the self-destruct thing, and
Tuvok shows up.
But it's like what Jaemeel said. It's paint by numbers episode. I mean,
yeah,
it really is.
But like, it's nice to have an episode that is kind of like, here's the story, here's the end of the story, story's done. My problem with it, and this kind of goes with what you're saying, Jeff, is that the entire episode, for a good portion of it, is very casual. There's no like, we have a timeline to hit, we got to get this done, this operation needs to be done in the next 2 hours, right? It doesn't seem like there's like a motivating factor, urgency, right?
Yeah.
Things are like, I'll figure this out, we'll just figure it out as it goes. They do this in
the Mirror Universe a lot in DS9. It's like, oh, we have two characters meeting each other. Why don't you come in and lounge down, and while I take a bath, and we can really discuss everything in full, you know? And they'll have like a 10-minute scene between two characters, and you're like, wow, where did the episode go?
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what this episode does.
Wait, that reminds me. Did the Intended have a harem of Vulcan sex slaves?
I believe she did. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
just wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to make of the Mirror Universe. Sometimes I'm like, okay, that's okay here. Okay, but the other thing's not okay.
You can't say that they had fun with it every time they tried to do something.
The one shot of like Dax like caressing her body all the way down as it like pans to Cisco. Yeah, like that scene exactly.
So I
I'm
had
like-
I had to fuzzy it up just so that we didn't get a content rating.
Right. Yeah, that whole thing is like, okay, they would never shoot that in the Prime universe. You know, they would never have that the way they shot that. So they get to have a little bit more fun and definitely be a lot more seductive and stuff. And
Yeah.
it feels like a different show when they do the universe sometimes. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like they're making Battlestar, or you know.
It does.
got-
It does.
I got a detail discovered by Dave.
Okay, what's your detail, Dave?
It says Avery Brooks was especially happy when he read the teleplay for this episode because in it, Cisco has sex for the first time since the show began.
That's you know what? That sounds about right. He's like,
And not once, but twice. First with Jedzia Dax and then with Kira Nerys.
you know, Avery Brooks was like, you mean to tell me I'm the captain of a space station,
Commander, actually.
or commander, captain in this new universe, and he can't get a little bit,
No, they're
crazy?
saying once you become captain,
That's when it
it's
gets nuts.
that's when you get the ladies.
So
he hits Bashir pretty hard, by the way. Like,
yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
he hits him harder than he hit Barial a couple episodes ago. He gives him a bloody nose.
I think there was some pent up aggression there against Bashir.
Yeah, like that was some real like I don't like you.
Yeah.
You
All the
your-
times you've annoyed me. That time you were whining when we were in Fallows, move along home, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's what
didn't
it
want
is.
to be there, and then I wouldn't drink the orange liquid.
This is for when you ask, maybe we're meant to do something.
This is canon that Bashir is unlikable in any dimension. Any
Unless
reality.
you're Esri for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyway. That's it. But maybe we can jump into fun facts.
Okay. We can
Double
do
F.
Double F with Jeff. Are you ready for some fun facts? Where did I put them? I had them. Right here. Ow! Oh, here they are. Okay, so Nana visitor
No.
hated the intendant's rubber figure hugging outfit. Quote, "It didn't breathe at all." Unquote. Claims visitor. And prevent her from sweating as she tended to discolor the outfit. There's a lot of stories here with the Nana visitor not being happy with whatever they told her to wear, or
Or how to do her
makeup,
hair.
or really anything to do with TV production.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, it's like, this sucks, or whatever, which I get. I understand there are moments where it's like, okay, you have to wear this one piece suit that's made out of rubber, which seems ridiculous that they made her wear that, but it does
Yeah.
look good, and I see
Yep.
why they made her wear it. That's how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I don't have that much sympathy, really. I'm sure Garrick's rubber thing
Yeah.
doesn't breathe either.
I'm sure. I'm sure Garrick's got some sweaty balls going on all day. I mean,
Sweaty balls.
And he's wearing like, a rubber mask and makeup
plus
and everything
makeup,
else.
plus
Yeah, she's got a little thing on her nose, but in a headband.
Yeah. But she had to wear a rubber suit, Dave. Okay, this
Tough.
episode's title, "Through the Looking Glass," aside from being from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, is also the last line in the previous scene's episode in the Mirror Universe crossover, spoken by Major Kira replying to Cisco's inquiry about where her and Bashira just were.
Yeah. Well, imagine he came back here in this episode and goes, when she's like, "Where were you?" And he goes, "Through the looking glass."
Mhm.
He just returns the favor.
Yeah, he's like, I went down the rabbit hole. Okay. The Raiders corridor, transporter room, and the turbolift are redresses of the USS Defiant sets, using computer graphics from the undiscovered country to make it look different. The lighting department had a harsh red light to make contrast to the bright white lights of our universe. The Raiders bridge was a redress of the runabout cockpit, which had been redressed in the same style several months earlier as the Maquis Raider Valjean in Caretaker.
Yeah, I like the actually I thought that the lighting in like this Terran Rebel thing actually was good. I liked the red the lighting and stuff.
The
I
red
thought
tint,
it was
yeah.
yeah, it was good.
Good red tint. Okay, that gets a thumbs up. Okay.
Thumbs up.
This episode picks up in the Mirror Universe where crossover left over. Crossover had itself been compared of a sequel to Mirror from the original series. So this is like
and the
three.
Tholian Web.
Yeah.
There's a Tholian Web, Mirror, and then this. The other one, and then this.
But we didn't know that yet. We didn't know
Yeah.
about the Tholian Web because Enterprise hadn't done their thing yet. But yes, it is connected.
Right. This episode was filmed after Improbable Cause, but before The Die Is Cast, because the decision to make Improbable Cause a two-parter came so late in the schedule that Through the Looking Glass was already in pre-production.
Okay, well, none of those episodes have come yet, right? So you're saying this episode was made after episodes we haven't seen yet?
That is correct, Dave. Okay, you're gonna have to deal with it. This episode contains the only reference to the Romulans in the Mirror Universe,
What do you think Mirror Romulans are like?
like Vulcans.
Yeah.
In the opening scene where Cisco has ruled that the Cardassian Vol should be confiscated, Quark says that it will break Morn's hearts, plural, implying that Morn's species has more than one heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He also has two stomachs.
Though referred to as a Terran Raider, the model of the ship itself resembles a Bajoran interceptor.
Mm-hmm. Are all Bajorans, Mirror Bajorans, evil?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And all, well, they should have made the Mirror Cardassians like pacifists. Would have been great. Okay. Robert Hewitt Wolf pitched the story of Cisco going to the Mirror Universe to replace his counterpart.
Good job.
Yep, that was a great idea. Winrick Colby later directed The New Adventures of Superman, Tempus Anyone from 1996, which likewise involved a character being brought to a parallel universe against their will and impersonating their deceased or presumed deceased counterpart.
You mean Dean Cain on Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman?
It's exactly the same.
Terry Hatcher?
Terry
Yep.
Hatcher.
The greatest Lois Lane?
I don't know about that. But okay.
John O'Shea, one of the best Lex Luthors.
Mm-hmm. Their Olsen was okay.
Which one? Justin Whalen or Mike?
I didn't know there's two.
Yeah, there was two. There was one the first two seasons, and then Justin Whalen took over.
Okay, but the first one.
Yeah.
Yes, but this is not the first episode that Winrick Colby directed. He directed Blood Oath, Armageddon Game, Allura, The Siege, Homecoming, Vortex, and Past Prologue. And you know, when we have to mention Vortex.
Good. Take us out of your precious vortex.
I love that.
Good. Take us out of your precious vortex.
And then I will enjoy my tea.
Ah.
Okay. The title is based upon Lewis Carroll's book Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There, which was a sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Right. Mirrors are known as looking glasses.
Makes sense.
It was more of a question.
Yeah. The 1970s BBC science fiction series Blake's 7 from 1978 is a strong influence behind this episode. In the Mirror Universe, Cisco is the leader of a band of rebels that are fighting the evil Klingon Cardassian alliance ruled by Intendant Kira. So I guess it's very similar to that.
Yep.
That series.
Looks pretty badass with those dual Klingon disruptors.
Right. The Badlands region of space, having been mentioned numerous times already, makes its first on-screen appearance on Deep Space Nine. Its official first appearance was in Caretaker from Star Trek Voyager 3 months prior to this.
Isn't that weird though? That we never they mention the Badlands all the time. Ever since the Maquis came along, which was last year. So Yeah.
They hadn't rendered the graphics yet, probably.
We got a 2 years to go. Don't worry about it.
but isn't like the Badlands is kind of a cool concept, right? Like a place where
Like tornadoes in space.
where you can hide if you're kind of from the bigger governments and militaries and whatever.
It kind of does feel like Kansas, like Wizard of Oz, it feels like that, like chaotic place.
Well, it's like the Wild West, right? Where no one can find you. And
right. Okay. This is the second role for Tim Russ in this series. The first was as a Klingon, Takar, in Invasive Procedures. His role of Tuvok is a crossover for the role he played for the entire run of Star Trek Voyager, although in this episode he only appears in the Mirror Universe. Yeah. Avery Brooks was especially happy when he read the teleplay for this episode because I
already told this was a detail discovered by Dave. Don't scoop me.
Yeah, well, you just stole it from the Double FHF. That's
okay. I discovered it.
You did discover. Tuvok was included at the request of Rick Berman. He wanted him for this episode. Rick Berman, you could say, was the Kevin Feige of this Star Trek universe.
That's right. Rick Berman. He was like Feige's inspiration.
Yep.
Okay. And then Alliance ships are seen decloaking in this episode. This is in direct contradiction with DS9, the Emperor's New Cloak.
I hate the Emperor's New Cloak.
Where a major aspect of the plot deals with the delivery of a cloaking device to the Alliance, who don't possess the technology. Non-canon novels attempt to explain this as difference between Alliance cloaks and Romulan cloaks. Yeah, I don't know about that one either.
Yeah, but the novels aren't canon, so it doesn't matter.
And then, Tim Russ's Tim Russ's Voyager co-star Robert Picardo guest stars in DS9 in the 5th episode, Dr. Bashir, I presume. So we're not there yet, but when we get there, we get some more Voyager crossover.
I don't think too many Deep Space Nine characters ever appeared on Voyager. Conversely,
no.
Yeah.
And that's it for Double.
That's it. Oh, okay. Well, let's bring it down and let's rate this episode. We're also missing Kevin and Ashley this week. We're thinking of you. You're dealing with some medical things, so hope everything's okay. If you're out there in the comments, feel free to throw your rating in if you watched the episode. All right, let's jump in, and Jeff, we'll start with you. Through the Looking Glass.
I'm like a 7 on this episode.
I'll go as high as 8 for this.
6.8. Same as last week.
Yeah, I'm going 6.8.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
good, but
Kevin's saying solid episode, 8.5.
ooh.
And so that's averaging out at 7.6. So we're kind of up and down. The panel's divided on this. This has a 7.6 on IMDb, which is exactly what we just gave it. Interestingly enough, as mentioned, this is Winrick Colby, who's had some hits and misses. And I'm saying that the Cisco focus, but it's also Mirror Universe. What are we looking ahead to next week? Looks like
what is it? It's Improbable Cause.
Improbable Cause, which is what?
I believe it's a Bashir episode, or no? It's a. Oh, this is the episode where Odo is. He's trying to figure. He has like a Cardassian informant he has to go visit, and there's a whole. Oh, it's the one where Garrick Taylor's shop blows up, I believe.
Yes.
So isn't that like the first? Like Improbable Cause is a two-parter, right?
Yeah, but it's the first part. Yeah,
and that's everything with like the Obsidian Order and the Romulans and all that, and okay. So that's gonna be fun. A two-parter.
Yeah, we get a lot of Garrick. I think Garrick's kind of the main character of the two episodes.
You blew up your own shop.
Yeah. And Odo's really great. I love the Odo Garrick stuff a lot, like for me, more than the Odo Quark stuff a lot of the times, because Garrick is actually doing real crimes a lot of the time, and Quark is just doing ticky-tack, like
petty crimes.
Petty crimes mostly. Yeah.
So I always enjoy when Odo has to figure something out with Garrick, because Garrick, there's some sinister overtones hiding beneath whatever's going on with him.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he's more of a foil to his level.
it's also Paul Dooley as a Nobrantane in that two-parter too, who I think is really he's really in the second part, really, but he's really strong in that story.
Yeah, he has a big scene in the first episode with him as well. But we get the whole Romulan Cardassian alliance take down the Dominion plot. So we'll be
it doesn't go well for them, as I recall.
No, but we'll be breaking that all down next week here on Doomsday Night at 9ish. Dave, what do we have coming up on all of our assortment of podcast channels?
Well, on Live Long and Podcast on Wednesdays, Jeff, we watched Star Trek the original series with our dad, and he goes, "Pretty good episode, kind of weird." And
it's a good one, but it's not as good as Gary 7.
Everything's about Gary 7, greatest episode ever. When they went back, but tomorrow we'll be talking about a Star Trek classic, the episode called "The Naked Time." Where they get like the drunk water molecules. It goes around the crew. Sulu with his shirt off and a sword. What else can you be asking for? Nothing. So if you want to know about The Naked Time, check that out tomorrow night, Wednesday. That would be, I guess, May. What are we in June now? June the 16th at 8 p.m. And then we're going to be taking a weekend off from Radio Theater as Ashley's recovering, and we're thinking of you. So just have another weekend, and we'll be looking ahead to Voyager when we do our next installment of Star Trek Radio Theater. I think I know what we want to do next, but I got to think about it a little bit more. But we're slowly putting out the edited versions of our Star Trek Radio Theater. We recently got Flashback out, the Voyager one we did, I guess, 4 weeks ago. If you haven't heard that, it's pretty funny. So check out the edited version there. We'll be working on the original series one we did after that, and others. So give me a break. I'm catching up. But Mott called me on the weekend. He's like, "Dave, these edited podcasts, these edited radio theaters are amazing. This is great." So Mott noticed. Why haven't you?
Mott noticed it.
Mott's a big fan of us.
Yes.
And he a show he's already on.
Yeah.
I only have one announcement, and that is to wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day.
Oh yes, Father's Day weekend coming.
So
happy Father's Day. We should. I'll make sure to mention that tomorrow with my dad.
Yes, and to you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, and then Trivial Debates, Jeff, our other channel. Guess what? We have a show coming up here at the end of June in just a few weeks, June 27th. We got Adam Woodward hosting for the first time ever. And we got Mike O'Connor, who has guested on our Star Trek Discovery podcasts, and mostly just Star Trek Discovery, as well as Jody Simpson and Chris Seymour as contestants. Check that out.
That's going to be great.
Chris
Seymour was taking notes from last last month, so he's ready. He's ready to
last
win.
2 months. He's missed two episodes now, so
I know, but specifically it was called out last month, right? And he said he was taking notes. He was learning, so he's ready. He's ready to win again.
Yeah. And then over on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, we did Big Brother Canada 9, Jaemeel and I, but Big Brother USA 23, starting July 7th, we'll be covering that, plus our back catalog of other things, including Tiger King, The Serpent, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And Jeff, you had mentioned you had been watching Loki.
Yes, Loki. Do you guys want to... Are we covering it, or are we going to wait till it's done, or do you guys want to do?
We can do whatever you like, but if we're gonna cover week to week, we better do it before the second episode airs,
which is tonight.
Which is tomorrow. Well, yeah, tomorrow. Unless you want to do the first two episodes together.
It's tonight. It's tonight.
Tonight at midnight or whatever.
Yes, and then Black Widow is going to be in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So we're So like I said, I'm up, but it would have to be probably after Wednesday. So if you want to talk about it, let me know. But we'll definitely be doing the deep dive for the whole season when the series wraps.
Yep. Okay. Great. I'll be excited to talk about it. I've been watching lots of different theories and all sorts of multiverse madness.
But I really enjoyed the first episode of Loki. I was
strong pilot.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think it's going to be a great. I love time travel and alternate realities. We just covered an episode that's about the mirror universe.
Alternate realities. Yeah.
Alternate realities. So I think a lot of what Marvel does is kind of a little bit influenced by Star Trek, and especially when it comes to the time travel stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
All right. And that's it.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining us here on Tuesdays 9 at 9ish. Until next week, where we cover Probable Cause, Season 3, Episode 20. Join us again next week on Tuesdays 9 at 9ish. I've been your host, Jeff Mader, for Dave.